Hello and welcome to Adverse Event Training. What we'll cover today include the definition of adverse events, how and when to report adverse events, what are late adverse events, and then some scenarios. Vigilance. Pharmacovigilance is also known as drug safety. Pharmacovigilance is the pharmacological science relating to the collection, detection, assessment, monitoring, and prevention of adverse effects with pharmaceutical products. Pharmacovigilance is designed to protect patients and public health. Is an adverse event. It is any unpleasant and/or unintended sign, symptom, or disease during the use of a product, whether it's related to that actual product or not. All adverse events should be reported, regardless of the seriousness of the event, the causal relationship between the event and the product, and the mention of the event in the product labels or instructions. Adverse events include, but are not limited to, all of these items, from abnormal test findings to allergic reactions, whether the disease is progressing or not being treated, drug abuse, etc. I'll give you a minute to read these. Scenarios are circumstances that may increase the patient's risk of developing adverse events, whether or not there are any associated AEs. These can include things like medication errors, exposure during pregnancy or breastfeeding, overdosing, misusing, and off-label use. Therapeutic effects are a beneficial therapeutic effect of a product aside from the use for which it has been given. In other words, something like a patient takes a product for high cholesterol and notices decreased insomnia. You're not required to proactively solicit this type of information, but if it is received, you need to report it as exactly as you receive it. When we document adverse events, we do have 4 critical elements required: an identifiable patient, a specific event or product complaint, an identifiable reporter, and a suspect drug. These are the items that will be requested when you're entering into the ConnectSource adverse event fields. So we must complete the following fields. Some of them will be already completed based on the patient selected, and some of them will require being filled in. In ConnectSource, create a task in the program case that is inbound call adverse event, and then the following information. That is in addition to the adverse event report filed in ConnectSource. These are some reportable examples of adverse events. I'll give you a minute to read through them. Again, these are just a certain examples. It is not an all-inclusive list. Our motto is, when in doubt, send it out. If you question it for more than a minute, whether the item is an adverse event or not, please file the report. These are things that are not reportable. So if the medication is on label, if they're out of medication but they report no other issues, patient discontinues the product because they can't afford it anymore, all of these are not reportable. Again, when in doubt, send it out. All adverse events should be reported within 24 hours, 1 business day of awareness. Reporting responsibilities are the same for all AEs, regardless of how they've been listed, the seriousness of the event, and whether or not it was caused by the product. They should be reported whether or not there is an associated AE, if it is an ARS or a UTE.